YB, man, what's up, bro? I understand. Hey, the fruit, it looked too beautiful not to eat, so you had to go ahead and take a bite out of it. But that ain't always what's in our best interest for the long run. Y'all gotta understand, man, it's like that saying, all money ain't good money. Well, all freedom ain't good freedom. He made a mistake. And I ain't talking about the original.
The rapper, whose real name is Kentrell Galden, is being accused of posing as a doctor to get pharmacies to sell him cough medicine that contained codeine. He was arrested in March, where he was accused...
Galden is accused of running a large-scale prescription fraud ring. He's facing 62 counts of forgery and identity theft.
What's happening, family? Y'all know, man. Let's get down to this business, man. This NBA Youngboy just got some decently good news, man. Some good news on his part. So y'all know we gonna chop it up about it. But first, wipe your feet as you come in the door. And for the ones that don't know, let's like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell icon and turn post notifications on all. That way you will be notified every time we drop a video. And also, go show some love to the Instagram, all facts, Skin KO, all lowercase, and all that good stuff there. So let's go ahead and get down to this business, man. Now, when it comes to NBA Youngboy, as we all know, the entire world probably knows. I mean, at least should know by this time how many people have covered this situation. But YB was arrested on one of the more stranger charges that you've probably ever seen. I mean, I know at least for me, I've probably ever seen a rapper or a celebrity be arrested for fraudulent prescription drug charges. Wild, right? They claim that he called and tried to pose as a doctor to receive codeine, as if, you know, he was fiending that bad. The wildest stuff ever, right? And I know I haven't given y'all much coverage on this situation, and that was due simply in part to the fact that one of these creators on YouTube decided to give me a strike for an old video where I used a tiny snippet of a video they probably used, which wasn't really technically theirs, you feel me? But hey, I ain't gonna speak too much on that. But the other reason why was just the fact that I felt like this situation was strange, man. Something didn't sit right. It did not make sense. Why would YB call in a false prescription and think that he was gonna get away with it when he could have got codeine off the streets from anybody? Could have sent any of his partners to go do that. He could have got tabs and perks from anybody. You know what I'm saying? Why call in a fake prescription? I mean, that's just asking to get incarcerated. But at this moment, that's not very important because YB has received some great news. And this news comes by way of course, the Utah court system.
All right, we're here today for a preliminary hearing and a bail hearing. I've had the opportunity to meet with the attorneys in chambers, and it does appear that there has been some type of arrangement reached between the parties. Mr. Findling, would you like to go ahead and state that for the record, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
In Logan, Utah, Baton Rouge rapper NBA Youngboy waived his preliminary hearing rights in a Utah courtroom Thursday morning, agreeing to let his prescription drug fraudulent case against him go forward. A judge set bail at $100,000 and scheduled an arraignment for July 1st. The rapper, whose real name is Kentrell Galden, was still being held after his courtroom appearance. He's accused of posing as a doctor to dupe various pharmacies into selling them codeine-laden cough syrup that is often abused. Galden also faces a federal gun charge in Baton Rouge. He had been out on pretrial release pending a trial this summer. The federal court in Louisiana wants the rapper to return to Louisiana if the Utah court frees him pending proceeding there. Galden, 24, was being allowed to live and record in Utah while awaiting his federal trial. After the Utah charges were announced last month, Louisiana federal prosecutors asked the judge to void his house arrest. Initially, Kentrell Galden was facing 63 different counts, but the docket has been reduced down to 48 charges, alleging identity fraud, forgery, and obtaining or attempting to obtain prescription drugs illegally. In Louisiana, Galden is accused of illegally possessing a gun as a convicted felon, and of possessing an unregistered firearm. He has pleaded not guilty. The rapper had previously been convicted of aggravated assault after a 2016 shooting.
Your Honor, counsel for the state and myself have been in negotiation really since yesterday, but throughout this morning, and I've explained those negotiations to Mr. Golden. We are going to waive a preliminary hearing in this matter. In exchange for that, a bond will be set at $100,000.
Utah judge has set NBA Youngboy's bond at $100,000. His arraignment is set for July 1st. The rapper, whose real name is Kentrell Golden, is being accused of posing as a doctor to get pharmacies to sell him cough medicine that contained codeine. He was arrested in March, where he was accused of running a prescription drug fraud ring while under house arrest. Golden's pretrial release was voided by a federal judge who ordered that he be returned to Baton Rouge following his release from Utah. Golden faces charges of felony possession with a firearm when he comes back to Louisiana.
YB got great news receiving bail, and also was informed that he won't come back to court until July 1st, and doesn't really even have to be there in person. He can do it over video call. So that's great news. Now, Ben 10, he put these pictures up saying free his bro, and a few people was commenting about the fact that YB has that mustache and beard, and he looks kind of out of it. YB look like this every time he go to jail. Most people look like this when they go to jail. Hey, dude been on prescription drugs real bad, family. He has an addiction, and it's so severe. We all know what he decided to do. The man decided to get on the phone with pharmacies and try to trick pharmacies into giving him a prescription, allegedly. We're going to get into that in a second, because I got to give y'all my thoughts on that, man. Hey, that just don't sit right with me. But I don't believe that YB is going through like anything that people are trying to circulate around the internet. Y'all know what rumors are popping up once again. He's been replaced. He's being cloned. All this and that. I mean, it could happen. Let's not act like that's not a possibility of something that could happen. But right now, this YB right here that y'all seeing on y'all screen, that's still YB. He just going through severe withdrawals. The man in there aching, hurting, throwing up, diarrhea. He going through it. He got to go through the pains of withdrawals. Even though I believe that case got some flaws, one thing I know for sure is that YB has an addiction. The man has a severe addiction. We done seen him all on the internet with pills laying all outside him, putting bars in his mouth, 2 or 3 pills at a time, hanging out with Conan, I love McConan, whatever his name is, looking messed up out of his mind, looking like he not even there right now. You feel me? So this is not a situation where they have cloned and replaced YB and that's not YB. No, that's definitely YB. He always looked like a Mexican anytime he get that mustache and beard. But I do want to speak on as well the situation about YB giving up his rights to a preliminary hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Finley. Mr. Keller, does that accurately represent the agreement that's been reached between the state and Mr. Golden?
Yes, it does, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Golden, have you had enough time to speak to your attorneys about this decision to waive your right to your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
That is a way for them to hit you with the okie doke. I need y'all brothers to understand when the system is trying to play you. Your preliminary hearing is vitally important, and we are always quick to waive that because we've been taught that that's just like a pre-trial. That's just like them gathering evidence and showing you what type of evidence they have against you, and that's not the case. Those are two completely, totally different things, and I'm gonna break this down for y'all so y'all can better understand it. Hopefully, this will help somebody who's currently going through this, because I got fucked this same way, not understanding what I was going through. See, the difference between a pre-trial hearing and a preliminary hearing is this. Preliminary hearings are sometimes referred to as mini trials because they provide a preview of a criminal case. A preview of a criminal case. But a preliminary hearing or a prelim serves a much different purpose than a trial. And I know what y'all thinking. Why, bro? Let us know, brother. Tell us the reason why, brother. Well, it's because a preliminary hearing occurs in the much earlier stages of the criminal justice process. At the preliminary hearing, the prosecutor must convince the judge that there is probable cause. Probable cause. He has to convince the judge that probable cause exists, which is vitally important. To believe that the defendant committed a crime, you need probable cause. If there's no probable cause, there's no crime that has been committed. There's no charge that can be filed on that defendant. So when you waive your right to a preliminary hearing, you are waiving your right for the state to have to convince the judge that there is probable cause. And after that preliminary hearing, that's when you enter into a pretrial. So do not confuse the two. They are two totally different things. I believe that the preliminary hearing is more important. It's way more important. Preliminary hearings serve to protect the defendant from unfounded criminal charges, making sure the prosecutor has sufficient evidence to allow a criminal trial to go forward. And for the ones who know, I know y'all thinking, the purpose of a preliminary hearing is not to prove the burden of truth. It's not. Of course it's not. It is to prove that there is probable cause. So don't get the two confused. Burden of truth comes throughout the trial. So you'll prove that eventually if the prosecutor has that. But before we even get to that point, we need to prove that there was probable cause. There was a reason to even put this charge. Can it stick? What is the purpose of us being here? You know what I'm saying? So with him waiving that preliminary hearing, he is already giving the prosecutor probable cause. They don't have to prove it. I would have made them prove it. How much you're spending on your lawyers, you need to make them prove this. And of course, by make them prove this, for the ones who got confused, I meant the prosecution. You need to make the DA prove that they have probable cause. His lawyers can't do nothing in this situation. This is all about the state proving to the judge. So the defense has no reason to really present no case, nor can they present anything. I'm just saying his lawyers needed to have dug up something that put pressure on the prosecution. Prove that I made those calls. Prove that I did something wrong. You feel me? Don't just lay down or give them no upper hand. Make them do their jobs. Make them prove that you did something wrong. Make them prove that you actually called these pharmacies. You already have another charge lingering, and we're going to get into that in a second. But if y'all don't believe what I have to say on this situation, the judge explained to him what waiving a preliminary hearing meant. He explained it to him. And rarely do you hear a judge try to make sure, like, are you sure that you want to waive this preliminary hearing? Just listen.
All right, you understand that the standard at a preliminary hearing is a much lower burden of proof that the government would have to meet than at trial. So instead of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, it's a lower burden of proof, which is there a reasonable belief that a crime was committed by you? And the court has to view all the evidence that it would receive in a light most favorable to the government, to the prosecution. Understanding that legal standard and having had discussions with your attorneys, do you hereby waive your right to your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right.
So in layman's terms, for everyone who don't really understand all of that legal rhetoric that he was spewing out, I'll simplify it for you. Basically, what he said was, you do understand waiving your preliminary hearing rights means that the state no longer has to prove probable cause. The state no longer has to prove that you committed a crime. You're stating that you committed a crime. And YB said yes, because he did not really understand the question, and he did not understand what his lawyers were trying to get across to him. All he heard was, if you waive this preliminary hearing, you will get out on $100,000 bond. And to him, $100,000 he'll wipe his ass with. That's nothing. That's all I got to do to get out on July 1st. Yeah, that's all you got to do right now. But eventually, this will come back to bite you in the ass, because now you just gave them probable cause. They had to fight for nothing. And I'm sure that the prosecution, the state's defense, did not have much to prove probable cause. And that's the reason why they offered you that bond deal, to make you waive that shit. How are you going to prove that, though? How can you prove that it was me that was calling? You cannot prove that without a doubt. You cannot say that that's me on the phone. That could be somebody that sound like me. You cannot prove this shit. That's hard to prove. How can you prove that? It's damn near impossible to prove. I mean, just think about it. You cannot prove that is someone over the phone trying to fraud somebody on prescription drugs. It's too hard to prove. Are y'all really paying attention to what's going on here? And that's why I said This situation sound funky to me. It sounds like something they doing to set him up to hit him with the okie doke. Not only take money from him, but to tear down the man's career. You are claiming that this man made a call to a pharmacy, multiple pharmacies, to try to get prescription drugs when prescription drugs are all over the streets. You can get them anywhere. He could have paid somebody who had an injury. He could have found his own doctor on the low, on the side, and got it that way. I know a lot of people who do it like that. You feel me? When you got money, resources, connections, it's easy to get in touch with a doctor. You overpay them more than they would get paid for writing that prescription to somebody random to write that prescription for you. It's easy. It's easy to find somebody who has chronic pain or, has cancer to, get their prescription from them. It's easy to get that. That ain't hard to do. Why would he take this risk? That is the question. And now you just took away that ability for you to fight back against that and not even have to go through this trial. You feel me? You just took away your opportunity to make the state prove that. It is way too hard to prove. Are y'all getting what I'm trying to get across to y'all? This was not smart for YB. Yeah, he's going to get released in the short term, but in the long term, this is an L, and the state just got a W, and they love it. That's the reason why the judge said, "Are you sure?" and broke it down to him everything that this meant. That was pretty much the judge trying to help him. Like, are you sure you want to make this dumbass mistake? Because it's really a dumbass mistake, and this falls on the backs of the lawyers, because the lawyers sell us out every single day. Every single day, and that's just the truth of it, man. That's the truth of the matter. And if anybody try to argue this, man, hey, you can't, because I'm a victim of this. I know this tactic. I waived my preliminary hearing rights, didn't know what was going on top of listening to my lawyer tell me to accept a blind plea after waiving my preliminary hearing rights to get a bond. The same shit happened to me. I should have made them prove it, because they didn't have much proof. But I gave them the burden of proof. I gave them proof. Well, not the burden of proof, but I gave them proof. I gave them probable cause. Let me not confuse the two, because I don't want to confuse y'all. I gave them probable cause, and that's where I fucked up, and that's where YB's fucking up, and that's where he's getting hit with the okie doke, and they are playing around him on the cool. If my lawyer would have told me to accept this with a case like this, where it's hard to prove probable cause, where it's hard to prove that this is me that's on the phone, that's making these idiotic phone calls trying to get prescription drugs on a fraudulent tip, like, I'm a superstar, I'm a millionaire, why would I be that fucking stupid? That's stupid. Then you have these cases back in Louisiana that are lingering over your head, federal cases. That does not help. You're already on house arrest, can't leave the house, ain't been able to leave the house in years. Man, it's just stupid. So prove that it was me. If he wanted to stoop down to that level and be that stupid, he could have paid somebody to do it for him. You know what I'm saying? Somebody to take that L for him. None of this makes any sense to me. And I just see the media eating it up like, YB did some dumb shit. YB, I don't believe YB did this. I believe this is another play to take this man's life. You feel me? Pay attention and open your eyes. Why would he be that stupid? Why? There could be two things going on here, man. Just to try to promote that YB does drugs, to push that on the kids, like, oh, YB loves pills, let me do some too. He went to jail for him. He tried to get a prescription because he was hungering for him that bad. Everybody talking about Perkies make you fuck better anyway, so hey, let me try them and let me see if I can turn up on them. That was the thrill about X pills. That's why they got everybody on X pills, because some say the X makes the sex spec, so play with the pussy, I'll play pussy. I know y'all remember that, man. They made Biggie say it, then they made Lil Wayne say it. They make the biggest artists in the world promote that. That was the same thing they used back then, and that's what they're using on these kids now. And if you have the biggest artists in the world promoting it, maybe they'll follow. Or it could just be the other, like the latter, and what I just said, which was the fact that they are trying to hit this man with the okie doke, railroad, and get him up out of there. You feel me? And that's just what it is, man. So open your eyes and pay attention, because a lot of this shit be fabricated bullshit that we really need to stop allowing to happen to our people, to our young black men. And I know a lot of the stuff that YB promotes is not something good for our community, man, but he's still young and he still needs to grow, man. He needs help growing. So as older black men, it is our job to try to help guide him onto the right path, in the right direction, because there's some good in him somewhere, man. There's some good in there. We all know. We have all been young, reckless, dangerous before, and then we grown. And that's what we need to help push him to do, man. Stop looking at this like entertainment and look at it like y'all not finna keep on doing our people like this, because every time one of ours get big, they go down for some bullshit. Y'all don't notice that, man? We gotta stop playing into this. And YB, stop allowing them to hit you with the okie doke. I would have fired my lawyers if they told me to accept that bullshit. Y'all let me know how y'all feel though. Like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell icon and turn post notifications on all. That way you will be notified every time we drop a video. Y'all know I love y'all family. Peace and blessings, kings and queens. Free that man YB. May the Most High be with you, and all praise be to the Most High. Y'all know I'm out. Believe it.